live from the track that has spent multiple seasons of GLSR racing as the finale each season. It is Chicagoland Speedway, the home of former sponsor Black Horizon Brewery. Big shout out to those guys if they are watching here tonight as we welcome you into the virtual Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. It is race number 6 of this awesome season 2 so far of the Downrange Transport Premier Series from GLSR. I'm the captain. We welcome you in. Getting a little bit of an earlier start because, in case you didn't know and didn't see last week's Bristol race, there's a little bit of drama going on. And if I had a quarter every time I said there was some drama after Bristol, I wouldn't have to be streaming online anymore. But here we are. Needless to say, got some stuff that has gone down and want to talk a little bit about it. Of course, leave it to my editing skills and things not to be working out right now as I'm waiting for a video to be processed. I was going to show you the accident we were going to talk about, but unfortunately, again, the editing over here to my left is taking way too long. It's taken a longer time than for me to run a lap around the Nordschleife. But anyways, I digress. The big talk last week was between two friends that you could call them rivals if you will, or if you would like to. But friends that have been around each other for multiple seasons, not only here, but over in a league called the Short Track Super League, run by Michael Steffen. It's part of the partnership here with GLSR. Last week, 5 laps to go, Telder, who you could argue was running the race of his life, potentially the best race he has run in GLSR in his time here in the series, leading with 5 laps to go. Obviously makes a defensive move the lap before on Fontaine, who tried to get the lead. They go down to the next corner, contact's made, Telder ends up wrecked, and multiple cars end up wrecked. Fontaine ends up in victory lane and into the playoffs. Of course, feelings were hurt, as per usual, and, well, the Inspector one himself, Inspector Scala, went to work today, and I was wondering, 6 days later, is there still some beef going on from that wreck, and what could we see in the future into the league? So here we go. I digress into it. So I was able to actually make some time to speak with Sam Fontaine and to speak with Matt Telder. I asked him pretty familiar questions when it was all said and done. The usual questions you would see on like a TV broadcast from, oh, would you race them the same? Or have you guys spoken to each other? Or things like that. So basically, this is what it came down to when it was all over with today. After talking to Sam, said that they have not talked. So, and Telder actually concurred when I asked him the same question. Now, these two do not know I spoke with each other until, like, now, if they're listening to the broadcast. So, both of them said that, yes, they have not spoken to each other. So, that's one thing we can confirm. No words have been said between the two. As that continues on, I also asked Fontaine, would you see yourself having a race Telder different now? Because obviously Telder's mad, and there's a chance you could see some kind of maybe retribution down the road. Who knows? Anything's possible in racing, right? Fontaine said no, not really. He said he and Matt have raced, and this is a direct quote here that he sent me, raced for a long time together and mostly generally never had issues on track. That instance was unexpected, move from one and a misjudgment from the other. So no, we always give each other space, and I won't change that. That was from Fontaine. So, yeah. And basically, Fontaine hopes that it'll just work itself out throughout that part, or the part of the season. Now, Telder, on the other hand, whole another story. This guy here, obviously, still pretty ticked off about the whole thing. Let's just put it like this. Don't expect Sam to be catching any breaks around Telder throughout the rest of the season, but also at the same time, there might be some different racing between the two of them, according to Telder. So a lot of stuff there that went down between those two. Now, I bring that up of course, saying that, yeah, there is a possibility we see these two get together. And of course, as you know how racing works, these two end up, the two drivers that rival each other all of a sudden have some kind of beef going on. They usually start next to each other. So let's see how qualifying goes here in just a minute. But I do want to point this out really quickly as we go in. I pulled up the rule book here, and this should be mentioned, I think, as part of all of this. No intentional wrecking a driver under any circumstances. Any driver found guilty of intentional wrecking another driver will be an immediate P3 penalty, which is a scale of penalties that the league has, P1, P2, P3. Without warning, second offense during the season is a driver being parked the rest of the season. Retaliation. No retaliation to a driver during the race. See above about intentional wrecking, which that was the rule I just read. Sorry, I just smacked my microphone. And so on and so forth. So, the lesson out of all this, the things out of all this is, I think there's potential a lot more to come out of this when it's all said and done. And we're going to have to keep our eyes out because Fontaine now is in the playoffs. Teller sits 30th in points. So, there's something there. And not to mention, when you go back and look at that replay, if I get a chance, I will show it tonight to the viewers and stuff and let you guys see this. But qualifying is going on right now, and I'm going to keep tracking and just kind of keep talking while I let you guys watch the cars out there on track. Give me a second. But, all right, maybe it's not going to cooperate with me here. Yeah, let's actually just go to Teller's car and watch him run his lap. So, going back to the topic there real quickly. That was not the only incident that happened on the last lap. You go back a couple positions, there was contact between another KGD2 car and a Lap 1 Legend car. And that was Gortman and the two of Jason Dalton. Not to mention, you go back a couple weeks ago to the Iowa Speedway, contact between Teller, Brian Sutphin, another KGD2 car. So, question I have now, and maybe we can agree or not agree on this, is there a rivalry between KGD2 now forming with Lap 1 Legends? You're looking at two teams that have competed, if not won, multiple team championships in this league also. Two of the best teams, arguably, put together. Could we have a Penske Hendrick or a Hendrick whatever, Gibbs type of thing going here? So there's a lot of elements, and that's the reason why I wanted to get on a little earlier to kind of bring that up, because I think as we go into the season, it's going to be something to watch as we move on. Now, Sam Fontaine has kind of laid it down here, 31-28. He is the pole sitter as of right now for this race tonight, which, by the way, is called the Legacy 195, kind of paying a little bit of a tribute to Black Horizon, who, of course, was the sponsor for the what was it, season 3 through 7 or 8 of the trucks. Obviously, we were around for a majority of that. And then, of course, Chicagoland, as I mentioned a little bit ago, was the home of the finale during the season. All right, let's see if I can get you the grid now and show you who's running where. Nope, still overloading with each other. I hate that. I don't know how to fix that. AI, I don't have an issue with that, but for some reason here I do. Anyway, so Fontaine right now on the pole with Dalton. So that whole thing about them starting next to each other, that got blown away when it's all said and done. But one thing I do want to do before we get into the race, there's one driver I would like to speak with. He's could be one of the hottest drivers on the circuit right now. And I want to bring him up because there's one little flaw I've noticed in him the last couple of weeks that I think I would like to have a quick word with him about, and that being the driver of the 15 car, Peyton Johnson, joins us here in the booth. I bring him up here. Of course, Peyton, first off, thanks for your contributions to the league there last week, sponsoring that race. We were just talking about the little bit of drama that happened there last week, but one thing I've noticed with you, you've obviously have come alive here these last couple weeks, as you have had some great runs going at Bristol last week. You had a great run at New Hampshire a couple weeks ago. But the one thing I've caught out of that is that as you get closer to the end of the race, the car has been either falling off or something's going on. What do you need to do to put that together?
Well, I'm just really bad at saving tires, Captain. That's really the main issue. I'm really bad at qualifying here. It looks like I just hit the wall twice.
Yeah, it
So
happens.
I'll be coming from the back, but I think this is going to be a wild save your stuff race, which, as I just said, I'm probably not the best at. So hopefully I can figure something out over the 130 laps. But appreciate you guys, and we'll see what we can. We'll see if we can string another top 5 in there.
Has there
It's been
anything
a good
you?
season.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything you've been able to catch, like yourself doing, that you feel could be hurting you?
Well, in the North Hampshire or New Hampshire race, I think I would have won it if it had gone green.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was just way faster than everybody and knew how to save my stuff there. So a little bit of bad luck there. Dirt, I'm just not good at.
Obviously,
Bristol,
we're gonna know.
I just didn't have it. So I think that I save it okay. We'll just see if I can't drive through this field, and this will make me take care of my stuff and not be in a hurry.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, best of luck in the Celeradus, number 15.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good broadcast. We'll talk to you after, hopefully.
Hey, sounds good, buddy. Be safe. Peyton Johnson there, and hey, a man of his word. He's straight honest with me there, and said, hey, I got to work on it, and that kind of thing. So thanks to him for his time. Which channel were you in, bud?
I got it.
Okay, he's going to move himself down there as we take a look at the starting grid in the race. And I mean, there's little things he can do, and we can talk about that here throughout his, obviously steering ratios, stuff like that, little tricks. But there are a lot of things on the track he can do. Fontaine on the pole, teammate Jason Dalton there on the outside. Alex Bryson, row number 2. He's got not teammate, but Jacob Thornton, who might have his best starting spot in his career here at GLSR. So congratulations to him. Row 3 sees Lucas Gortman, who had a great run going last week and said to me just a little bit ago that he sucks at this track. Not bad for a P5. Brandon Alphin there on the outside. Alphin won a championship here back in season 5 at this track. There's Telder, row 7, or row 4. If I could talk, it'd be a miracle. With Lucas Strayer, those two have led to most laps so far this season. Josh Gagnon, Jeremy Frere in row number 10. Row 11, Stephen Miles and Brandon Maciejewski in the 12th position. Row number 7, Sean Peach and Brian Sutphin. There's the Dean Machine there on the inside of row 8 alongside Tanya Sutphin. Diego Sainz, Cedric Ingram, the Daytona winner there in 18th. Lucas Simonson, Jacob Locklear in row 10. Devin Ramsey, Shane Matthews, row 11. Row 12, hometown guy, Sammy B. Going to start alongside Richard Midkiff there in the 24th position. Tyler Brewer, Peyton Johnson. He talked about his poor qualifying effort. There he is, 26th. Tyler Pluff, Drift. They're in row 14. Row 15, Andrew Wyatt, Dalton Carter. And Jason Stewart, the 31st and final driver to grid. Let's take a look at the point standings as we enter. As you see, Fontaine, Ladasor, Cedric Ingram, Brandon Maciejewski, and Brian Sutphin, those 5 winners so far, they are in to the playoffs. 12 drivers make it, and you see Diego Sainz 3 back as we go into race number 6 here tonight. Again, win and get in for the first time ever in series history. 130 laps, just shy of 200 miles, 195 to be exact, here at Chicagoland Speedway. Of course, tonight in the series presented by Downrange Transport. As we come to the green, race number 6 from Chicagoland underway. A doubleheader, by the way, from Chicago. Our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. Check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. As Fontaine pulling out to an early lead. Alex Bryson right there with him. This car is going to be fast all over the place here tonight as Fontaine leads lap 1. You see him scattering out 3 wide. Almost 4 wide with the apron. Josh Gagnon, 79 car, 21 of Brandon Alphin. His teammate Stephen Miles inside there with Sean Peachin behind him. And that gold number 4 car, it's the Liquid Death car, Jeremy Frere. A lot of people talking about how loose this car is, especially later in the run. Which I bring up the fact I always like to say, a loose car seems to bring out the best in these iRacers. And I say that because it seems like they more have to race the car themselves instead of the others. And usually, knock on wood, usually it produces less cautions and great racing. Let's see if that's the case here. You drift watching, and said hello before you got started in the race. As we are on the quest for 1,000 subscribers. The quest has begun, I think, officially. I know I've been waiting kind of to get closer and closer and closer, and now we are within 13 subscribers of the old 1K mark. First, year and a half? Maybe first year. I went from 0 to 600 really quickly. In the last year and a half, I apparently have either became boring or something. And I've stalled out. Slowly, as the number does still continue to climb now, just not at the pace that it was going before. Maciejewski there in an unsponsored 93, passed by Lucas Strayer for position. Jacob Thornton there behind him. Back at right outside the top 10, I believe. Maciejewski, 13th position in that 93 car. Ran in the winner at the Iowa Speedway, if I remember correctly. Car's going pretty good speed here around this 1.5 mile oval. Built back in 2001, original surface on the track still. As you see Dean ripping the top side here outside of the 15 of Peyton Johnson. He and Peyton moving through the field already. Peyton up to 15th after starting 26th. So we're seeing some comers and goers in this race pretty early. I wonder how much that's going to hurt these cars in the long run. Let's jump to the front here as you see Fontaine with Bryson in tow, Lucas Gortman, and look who's the fourth car in line. There's Telder. We just talked about this potential rivalry that really got enhanced. But first, let's go back here. 7th position. 6th and 7th, Josh Gagnon, Sean Peachin. The Pizza Hut, the Peachin Hut car, if you will. We ride with Gagnon. We watched the battle of the Vegas cars. And up front, here comes Bryson. And you see Fontaine or Telder's moved to 3rd. It's just the way racing magic works. When you have something that brews up, the following things usually happen. Either one, the two cars end up starting next to each other. Of course, you didn't have that. The two drivers end up in the same truck during driver intros. They don't do that in iRacing. Or they end up next to each other during the race. And look at this. It's just the way it works. Back here, Brian Sutphin, there's Dean, a bunch of KJD 2 cars right here. The Hook'em Horns paint. The 48 of Christopher Dean. One of the original racers here in this series from the start. Of course, Dean, I think I've worn this one out, but I think it's still funny to say sometimes, and he laughs about it now, but came one lap away from being the first winner in series history. And then Chris Lewis, or not Chris Lewis, that other Chris Evans showed up and made the pass for the win. As Telder to second outside of Bryson. And caution's going to come out. Caution on track. Jason Stewart is spun to the inside. And Andrew White collects the 29 of Midkiff. Looks like Dalton Carter went off track. A caution out for the first time. Lap 13. Here it started. You see Stewart there inside lane. Locklear there. 13 of Wyatt, and no, they hit each other. Looks like Stewart might have come up there a little bit. Wyatt trying to hold it down. Good job so far. And here comes Midkiff. Rips the hose off the car. And Dalton Carter trying to miss everybody. Both those cars will come to pit road. Yeah, Stewart just didn't turn in the tri-oval. Not sure what that was about. Everybody almost doing a good job, and then unfortunately, bam, there's the 29 making the contact. All right, so caution out, and we've got a couple of cars coming to pit road. Jeremy Frere is going to bring the 4 in. Jacob Thornton, Tyler Brewer, and a lot of guys towards the back. So Zoli pit road Frere might get a penalty there for getting on track too soon, but here we are. Lap number 15. We're going to have a restart, and look, we got the 2 that we've talked about. You know, and obviously the season itself has been fairly calm when it comes to the action. I mean, great racing, not really any kind of drama or anything like that, and then all of a sudden this happens on the, 5 laps to go last week at Bristol. My video's still processing, by the way, so I don't know if that's going to get done anytime soon. So I'm just going to go hit the X button on that one. You can always go back in the VOD and catch the highlights of it or whatever. All right, so pace car lights are off. I'm actually going to quiet myself for a quick second. I normally don't get a chance to stream the race on my TV. So I decided to actually pop the TV open, and as I now have the new place I live in, I can look over to the TV. I used to be in another room until I moved to the new place. So here we go, coming back to the green, lap number 17, as Fontaine's led them all so far. Telder to his outside, as here we go, back to it. Good restart for the 77. Bryson going to fight him to the inside. You see Telder a little loose up top. Almost gets up there near the wall. As these cars spread out. all the way from the bottom to the top. A lot of character, a lot of bumps in this track. You know, as I've talked about before, this is the original surface back from 2001 when the track was built. Not many things have changed from 2001 to 2023, except the orange that interrupted qualifying in the Busch Series back in 2003, I believe the year was. Obviously no longer exists. Fontaine out to 0.4 of a second lead as you see this gaggle of cars. There's Diego Sainz in the bottom there, the 44 car. Stephen Miles, the 24. Of course, Gagnon, that PRG gear car. PRG, the sponsor of the Rookie of the Year standings this season. So big shout out to them for what they're doing. Of course, Gagnon, a big helper and representative there. A little 3 wide, top side. Peyton Johnson making moves. He's literally making moves. Oh, almost slides up in a Gagnon there. That could have been close. Nice job by Peyton to get out of it a little bit and give him the room. Now they're hitting each other down into Maciejewski goes Peyton. No cautions, nobody spun out. But here comes Lucas Gortman to the bottom. And now caution comes out. 49's around, so is the 11, Lucas Simonson and Jacob Thornton. Let's see what happens. Bring the second caution out. Ooh. Lucas up the track into the wall and then collects Jacob Thornton. Looks like Lucas grenaded the motor. See how he's fighting the car. And look at both get loose. And you know what part of that is being on the bottom. He's trying to it almost looked like maybe you pinched the car off instead of letting it drive up the track. And unfortunately, the contact there with Thornton and the caution comes out. Tough break for the both of them here. And got a lot of cars on pit road here. Not the leaders, though, but we do got cars on pit road. Brandon Alphin, Alex Bryson, Gagnon, Miles, Frere. So going to start seeing that split strategy now as we're just a little over 100 laps to go. And I've been hearing cars about 50 laps or so on a tank of fuel. And of course you do 50 from here, you're about 6 laps short to get into the finish. You see the temperature over there on the right-hand side. Well, after 1:30 Central Time, because of course Chicago is actually in a Central Time zone. I'm not sure the date of this race, if it's the traditional May 15th or if it's the actual day of the race. But obviously, 83 track temp at 115 at 1:30 in the afternoon, probably going to go up. Matter of fact, right there, boom, jumps to 115. So, right on cue. A couple early shout-outs here. How about Tanya and Sutphin up 8 positions here in the 7 car? Of course, that's probably a little bit help with pit stops, but Tanya having a good run there, run behind Brian in the 26 car. Devin Ramsey up to 11th, and see, we're not green yet. All right, not going green. Let's see, still got the lights on the pace car. Let's get another driver up here, and I think I know the one to talk to. I mean, it would not be a race at Chicagoland Speedway. Are we saying that he's not in here? How is Sammy B not in Discord? Out of all the people, Chicago's own Sam Barnes is not in Discord. No, guess that's the way the cookie crumbles. All right, you get one to go this time by. So for those who are new to the channel, back when we broadcasted this series in the first 8 seasons, of the league. Sorry, I was just listening to something to all of a sudden drivers are talking about songs and playlists and things that are coming out. That's kind of scary to me. Apparently Lucas Strayer is, when Freebird comes on, he goes banana, especially, I'm guessing, during the long instrumental. I wonder what would be my racing. I guess I've always been a fan of that song Liberate by Disturbed when that came on. That always made me want to go fast. That's all. But anyways, here we go. Green flag back out. Lap 27. Just a little over 100 laps to go. We'll have to keep an eye on those guys who pitted. If they can find a way to get to roughly lap, I'll call it 70-ish, if not 68 or so, they might be able to make it. There's Kermit Gortman. 3rd position for him. And look who's 4th. Oh, Petchin himself. Shawnee P. The Pizza Hut car running 4th right now. Lucas Estrella there behind him. You think Talder's got a little motivation seeing that 77 in front of him right now? Well, they battle out. Let's go back here to, almost some contact with Locklear and Sutphin. And now caution comes out. 3rd time. Jeremy Frere. Jeremy Frere's involved. The 13 of Wyatt. And now, we got a crab. We have a crab. Let's see what happens. Stewart down on the apron here, trying to get around Brandon Alphin. Oh, he's going to get loose on the apron. And now he's just out of control, locking up the brakes and into the, oh boy, and Brandon Maciejewski involved. Tyler Brewer gets clobbered. He's on the brakes trying to slow up, and it just, I mean, the momentum of the car just carries it. That's a big wreck. It's a good lesson, I guess, so to say, for young drivers who are on iRacing maybe for the first time or that kind of thing. But Fontaine on pit road. Here come the most of the leaders actually are on pit road now. And this actually will finish the cycle. Stops out everybody pitting once as of right now. It's funny, I've had drivers talking about just things happening on the track and that kind of thing. And it's kind of made me kind of go into like a teacher type mode and make me want to kind of help them out. Because I'm one that has obviously been on iRacing for 12 years, and I still remember back to my first Indy 500 I ran in 2012. It was like 2 weeks after, or a week, actually, I'm sorry, it was the weekend after I joined iRacing. And little be known, I'm not afraid to admit it, I pulled off pit road after the first pit stops and completely wiped out the last place car coming back to on the back straightaway because, oh, I didn't think to slow down for the pace car. So we all make little mistakes like that, right? So with that said, one of the things that I can try to teach a rookie on here, when you get out of a street stock or whatever, because the first thing you do when you're on iRacing is you either do oval, which is the street stocks at Charlotte, or USA usually. I don't know if that's changed or not. And then on the road side, you run either Okayama or Lime Rock in a Mazda, in the Miata. So when you get out there and you're racing, you're used to you're running these slower cars, right? They're getting you prepared, practicing racecraft and that kind of thing. So then all of a sudden you jump up into one of these B cars and you go racing, right? So as you start in the B car, you obviously might be doing pit stops and that kind of thing for the first time. And one of the first things I could teach somebody is don't go out there trying to win a race. Don't go out there trying to finish in the top 10. Just go out there and try to finish all the laps. Work on your racecraft. Part of that. Don't go to the apron. Don't go, you know, if you're running here at Chicago right now, stay on the track the whole time and run all 130 laps. Because that is how you're going to learn how to be a better racer slowly and surely. Eventually, you'll start finishing in the top 10. And then the top 5s will come, and then the win will come, and that kind of thing. So, if there's ever any advice, I mean, like, I'm not trying to bash Jason for what he did there or anything like that. What I'm trying to do is use that as a teaching note to say, hey, if you're somebody who's not been on iRacing longer, that kind of car, don't go down there. Just be patient and just race, run that bottom lane, and just stick to the bottom. There's a reason why when you watch, like, the ARCA cars in real life at Daytona, which is almost a joke in itself, but there is some goods to it. You notice how they always tell the rookies, stay on that yellow line the whole time. Don't leave it. There's a theory to that. All right, so we're going to come back to green. Done enough with Dr. Scala here. You know, it's funny if I would have taught myself that years ago, but it's the stuff that I've learned and I want to be able to help others with. Maybe I ought to create a driving class or something. All right, coming back to green, lap 33. So for those who just pitted here, they might be looking pretty solid on fuel. Now it's a matter of if these other cars have saved or not. As we come back to green, Miles and Signs on the front row. Gagnon now third. Alex Bryson, Cedric Ingram, Shane Matthews drift up into seventh. You see him fan out 2-3 wide. That's drift down there in the bottom in the American flag car. Of course, the league tonight, by the way, is doing a veterans paint scheme week, basically, as of course Veterans Day coming up on Saturday. And 3 wide back there at Alphen, 3 wide here with Fontaine and Strayer and Peachin. Of course, now you got to be careful as you're out here mid-pack because some of the action's been happening, and now you got to work your way through the track position that you've lost. Obviously, anything can happen anywhere on the track. Let's go up here to Cedric Ingram, who's battling for the 4th position with Alex Bryson. AB to the inside there, and here comes Telder. And then the 88 there of Shane Matthews. And you see the great thing about Chicagoland, they can kind of stretch out all over the track now. Chicago's still one of the rare mile-and-a-half tracks with one solid degree of banking from bottom to top at 18. As you see Peachin now ripping the top side and ran the fastest lap of the race last time by. So Peachin showing some wheels there in that Pizza Hut car. Up front, Diego Sainz has gone by miles for the lead. That happened just a second ago. Trying to get you the exact lap it happened. I'll show you what happened. I'm pretty sure Miles just gave it to him. Because Steven usually is at this point in the race just kind of hanging on and just riding. Actually happened. Lap 37. So 2 laps to go. Here's what happened. Sainz gets to the inside. And as I said, Miles just kind of lets him fly on by. Miles, one of them drivers, very methodically races. Very careful, very meticulous. Finds his way to the front every week when it's over with, up there in the top 10 or top 5, battling for a win. That's why he's a multi-time champion in other leagues and has won a few races over here on GLSR side now. There's Fontaine, there's Brandon Alphen, Lucas Cortman, Cedric Ingram's kind of falling back here a little bit. Out of the top 10, unfortunately, after restarting up in the top 5. And one of my favorite parts about Chicago is just the way this track spreads out, of course, with the dynamic track element coming back into play here shortly in this sim. See that track temp climbing to 119. This track's just getting slicker and slicker and slicker. And here comes Gortman inside of his teammate and car owner Telder. And here we go again. I've been keeping an eye on them the whole time. These two, it's going to be the first time they're side by side. Let's see how this goes. Fontaine said when I talked to him, he would not race Telder any different. Somebody's blinking out towards the back. Looks like it's Peyton Johnson. Somebody get that man a tinfoil hat. Right now, very kosher, very clean. Telder sliding up the track a little bit in 2. He should be able to carry that momentum off with the draft. Clark, I'm building drama. Up front, here comes Miles back at it. I'm working a TV product, my guy. You know how it is. Miles clears him to the front. Miles let those tires heat up a little bit there, kept him under him, just running his own pace, as I mentioned earlier. Moves that 24 back to the front. Meanwhile, this is the gaggle right here at 9th position. Gortman's kind of driven away a little bit here and leaving Telder, Alphin, Sam Fontaine, and Jason Dalton right there. Telder sending it in there pretty deep. It's a dirt track move right there as he sends it in there on Matthews in the 88. Going to clear him for position. Good job of him not to park the bus. Very tough to do when you make a move like that. On a track like this, you send it in there pretty deep. And if you're not able to get that car to rotate, you almost have to park it to get the car to cut. And then you lose all kinds of momentum and then could get run over from behind. Dalton getting a little loose there off 4. Alphin trying to clear himself there. Not able to do it. Matthews holding on pretty strong there on that top side right now. Locklear, and there's Peyton Johnson, a 15 car. Moving on to the 13th position right now. And here's a name we haven't said all night. Tyler Pluff, 3rd place finisher at Bristol last week. As he worked Sutphin for the 15th position. Pluff had a terrible qualifying effort in that red, white, and blue body armor car. Let's bounce back up here. This is the battle right here. These guys just going at it. So I'll pull up the window really quickly here and show what we're looking at pit strategy-wise right now, because we have got a number of pit strategies right now. Let's go back here. Look at Miles. And so, whoa, who's that? Locklear sends it in there. So Miles and Sainz fit at lap 23. Then you got Peachin, who's third, lap 30. Then you got a couple more 23s, a few 30s. Then you have Alphen back here, the 23 and 30. You know, what you're not seeing on the screen is anyone who pitted at, say, lap 14, like Drift. So Drift is going to be pitting in the next probably 10 laps in his car. So he's actually going to be short on a one-stopper. And then pretty much everybody else who's on track is 23 or 30. If you go 23, then you're looking at likely lap 73 or so, which will get you to the finish 47 laps from there. If you pit it at lap 30, no, I'm sorry, let me do the math right. That's like 63 laps all of a sudden. If you get to 73, that's 50 laps. You are 130 and 80 is 50, 57 laps, so you're too short. So you want to try to get probably 53, 54 laps. If you can do that, you can make it all the way on one stop. But if you're lap 30, you're coming at lap 80. Pretty simple math right there, 50-50, and you're at the finish. Elder slide jobbing himself into the wall. Brandon Alphen getting a little loose. See how much that hurt the 42 car with that little kiss. Ryan Sutphin on pit road lap 57, a little early for him especially. These guys here are just fighting. This battle's allowed Gortman, Bryson, those guys to get away. As a matter of fact, Gortman has just passed Josh Gagnon up here for the 5th position. So Kermit Gortman up to 5th. As Teller and Dalton cannot figure it out. And as I mentioned earlier, that little team rivalry that I think is coming into play now with KGD2 and Lap 1 Legends. These are pretty much the two team captains, if you will. As a matter of fact, Teller's a former teammate to Dalton. Here comes off, and he's like, I'm just going to break this up. And Teller slide jobs himself again. And how often gets loose. Alphen clears Dalton. Nice job by Dalton to get out of the gas there. I think he was just kind of letting Alphen go. And he's going to clear on. Ooh. Is that Fontaine kissing the wall? So Miles continues to lead by 3/10 over Diego Sainz. And Peachin there at 1.9 seconds back. It only makes sense with these two getting closer together, being Telder and Fontaine. Now we have a lawyer right behind them. It makes sense. Sutphin still on pit road as Fontaine clears for 9th. So halfway point coming up next time by the way, will be a bonus point for someone as part of the halfway challenge. A playoff point will go to somebody for leading it halfway, and that's coming up here next time by as Miles going to bring it off turn 4, see if Sainz can get to him with the next 1.5 miles. All right, put one in the bank for the Ric Flair drip as Miles gets himself a bonus playoff point for the halfway break. Well, it's not really a break, halfway point, if you will. But Sainz has kept it right there within 0.4 of a second the whole time. They're starting to kind of pull away for Sean Peachin. However, I look back here, and here comes AB into the picture, and Lucas Strayer is on pit road. 4 tires and fuel for the 41 car. I mean, this is the ultimate smorgasbord of paint schemes right here. We got the Kurt Busch or Jimmy Spencer or whatever, number 41. You've got a Jimmy Johnson paint scheme with grit on the car. Or I say Jimmy Johnson, Lowe's looking paint scheme. Of course, Lowe's has been featured on plenty of cars, from Brett Bodine to Mike Skinner, and of course, Double J. Board with Bryson here as we come up to 60 laps to go here. And this Legacy 195, of course, the Veterans Day weekend theme as we have some paint schemes. Yeah, he's way too early. That's got to be a tire strategy, Clark, if anything, but I don't know if necessarily that's going to work. We'll see, though. Obviously, a lot of cars out here running patriotic paint schemes. Some pretty cool ones I'll point out here while we're in our green flag run. As let's go to Dalton Carter. I really noticed this one right off the bat. This thing here got that chrome look to it. The I forget what he said he was representing, but there's obviously a good looking Army look there to it with that shell, I guess so to say, that metallic number 3 look. I brought up drift a little bit ago in the number 14 car. As Sean Peachin comes to pit road. And I think there might have been, or close to being, contact between Peachin and Bryson. I look at the rear, and I see some damage on the 69. So was there some damage between, or contact between he and the 38 car? Let's go take a look here. The Peachin goes to the bottom here. I'm not sure. I didn't hear it over the audio if there was any call to pit road. And oh yeah, oh there goes there goes the rear bumper. There was some contact, all right. If you pit at lap 23, you want to try to get another 3 or 4 laps out of this car, and you should be okay to get to the finish. Now, for those who pitted at lap 30, it's simple math. You just go to lap 80, put tires and fuel on there. But yeah, if you're Lucas Strayer, I'm curious on that move. I don't know if there was tire wear or something he was worried about, or maybe he's trying to two-stop it to the finish. If so, I think he waited a lot longer than he probably should have been. I mean, do the math like this. If you're, ideally, if you're wanting to do a two-stopper on tires to the finish of this race from the time you went green. We went green around lap 35. So you divide 100, or I'm sorry, 95, roughly, by 3. And you get close to, what, 32 laps, 31 and a half, something like that. So you'd run that many laps on tires, come get tires, go back out, run the same amount of laps, come back in, and you want to split it out evenly. You don't want to push it to where you squeeze yourself at the end of a race or whatever. So I'm not sure, again, what the strategy is there on the 41's part, but obviously Lucas, he's a pretty smart character, so he's probably got a theory behind his madness. Back to the ranch, these two are still fighting, as Peyton Johnson's actually blown by them both. As Telder Dalton battle for now the 9th position. Fontaine's gone by and pulled away. Johnson's right there with him. Here comes Dean. All right, so I think the pit window should be open about right now. Whoever's going to come to pit road is going to be here at this moment. I haven't heard anybody call it out yet, but just ready to see what's going to happen here. Who's going to make that big mistake? Who's going to have the money pit stop? And right on cue, here comes Dalton, the 2 car, first one in. That should cycle everybody in. Brings Tannen Sutphin with him in the 7. Brandon Alphin coming to pit road now at lap 80. This is, I think, going to be the lap you see a lot of people getting in here. 14.8 for the 20, or the 2 car. Here's the 21 now. Little in-house rivalry this past week, as often a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, Stephen Miles, his teammate, a Philadelphia Eagles fan. That was an interesting conversation all week. Surprised nobody had to like wear somebody else's jersey or something. Yeah, I bet it was. I stopped in there a couple times. Usually, though, in that kind of situation, you like somebody has to wear the other team's jersey or something. I mean, all right, Kermit Gortman coming to pit road along with Shane Matthews. I want to see how that works a couple weeks from now, Clark, when they're playing on Sunday night. I think it's like 3 weeks left in the season or something. 4 tires and fuel, and there goes Lucas. Matthews, 16.5 on pit road. Not sure what happened there. There's your leader, Stephen Miles, is pulled away now, 1.7 seconds on Signs. And when does Stephen bring on the pit road? Matt Telder, Cedric Ingram, Sam Barnes now on pit road. This is lap number 84. You see in the background, there's Miles coming to pit road. Diego Sainz staying out. Alex Bryson on pit road. One car hangs a left at the last minute, and Locklear misses him back there. Who is that? That might have been Ramsey. Somebody didn't have a turn signal with their car. Tires and fuel, and they pull away. As Diego Sainz now on pit road. Did get a chance to show Miles his pit stop. He had a 14.9. Let's go back to this entertaining pit stop that happened a second ago with Devin Ramsey. Is he about... Okay, let's... Here we go. Watch this move. Hangs a left, gets all the way over, and there's Locklear. And then he overshoots his pit stall. That doesn't help things. So that hands the lead now to the 39 of Tyler Pluff, who should be coming to pit road here any minute. Once he does, it'll actually hand the lead to Sean Peachin, who pitted at lap 70, about 14 laps before Stephen Miles, and he'll have about an 8-second lead over Miles. Diego Sainz outside of Brandon Alf and takes the position away. So this is the biggest track that this series has ran since the opening race at Daytona. The New Hampshire, a 1 mile track. Iowa, 9/10 of a mile track. Eldora's dirt track, which was a half mile. And of course the Bristol half mile. As we look at the schedule here, as next week we stay right here in the city of Chicago and hit the street circuit for the first time, I believe, in series history. So as we continue the creative schedule of season number 2 in this car. Credit to the series for putting that kind of a schedule together. It's been a interesting concept, some interesting races and stuff, and I'm kind of curious to see these guys in the B car on the streets of Chicago. Of course, we've seen this series run a street circuit before, that being Detroit's Belle Isle a couple times in a truck. Two things that will be for certain next week is, one, there will not be rain in Chicago, and two, I know how to say the name Shane Van Gisbergen. And I can even say now the name Brandon Maciejewski. Look at this. Sammy B under attack with Cedric Ingram. There's the 9 of Dalton Wilson, who just had, or Dalton Ramsey, I should say, who just had the adventures on pit road. Tyler Pluff in the 39 with the freshest tires out of this whole group. 3 wide. Tyler sticking 4. Barnes gets out of it, and cooler heads prevail. Smart racing there on their guys' part. As up runs Stephen Miles working 1.2 seconds now to Sean Peachin's lead. Ladisor, after his minor procedure, if you will, down in Jersey, from where he's at, coming back to the streets of Chicago. Of course, Joey, the winner of the dirt race, one of the new winners we've had so far this season. And as you see the pass for the lead, Miles to the front, and 5 winners in 5 races, and Miles looking to make it 6 for 6. Of course, we still got a little bit to go before we get to that record, as has been mentioned a few times here back at season 7, when we had 9 winners in 9 races before Alex Cummings won at Michigan to be that 10th, be the first repeat winner. Of course, we do that this season. There will be 3 drivers, and that'll be it. That'll make the playoffs on points. And when you look at it like that, you're putting yourself in a position where you almost need to be leading the points to assure a spot in the playoffs if you have not won a race. And you can only imagine how tough that is. fact, let's show you again real quickly the point standings as they entered tonight. You see Fontaine, of course, is now the leader after his win at Bristol. Ladouceur there second, Cedric Ingram, Brandon Machieski, and Brian Sutphin. You see Gortman the best of the rest right now, 37 up. So hypothetically, let's put it like this. We have 10 races before the playoffs. 12 drivers make it. So 2 drivers will make it on points. And if you add names to this list, you could see to where Peyton Johnson right here, 8th in points, would fall all the way back here and finish 13th and be 14 out. But be what, 3rd in overall points maybe, or something like that, depending on how all the points is lined up and that kind of thing. And it goes back to the Cup season a couple years ago where Martin Truex didn't make the playoffs and was 4th in points because he didn't win a race. As Diego Sainz making a pass for the 2nd position. And so, you know what? Let's take this opportunity here. I'm going to let you guys enjoy the sounds of the cars here and turn it up. So 27 laps to go as these two battling with each other right now. Peyton Johnson, Josh Gagnon, these two have been kind of, in a way, barking at each other almost since practice about different things. Of course, the contact on the front straightaway early in the race and some contact happening during practice. So here they are stuck with each other. And Gagnon are smoking the wall a little bit there. It's not going to help him too much. So everybody is set to go here after the pit stops, and actually just heard something. Sean Peachett is coming back to pit road here with 25 laps to go. Gonna short pit here. We talked a little bit ago about the two-stop strategy here. Nailed his pit sign. And 14.8, he pulls away, so we'll see where this puts him. 23 laps to go. 24 up front. Miles has been at it. And what I mean by at it is he has been working on his racecraft each and every week. He and I talk a lot. And one thing that, you know, he has said to me, he's got a league that races on Friday nights. You can see on the Captain Esports Network that he has been desperately trying to win in. And, of course, all he's trying to win over here on Wednesday nights. I will be the first to admit out loud, and I've said it to him before, might overwork himself a little bit when it comes to this, but hey, he's striving to be the best. I have no problem with that. And more power to him. All right, so Sean Peachin, for those wondering, came out in the 19th position. He just passed Tanyan Sutphin and is now the first car a lap down. But here's where the deficit comes into play. He's 21 seconds back. Somebody smoked the wall there in front of Miles. Locklear in the 84. So Stephen Miles on time, and this is not counting a lap behind or anything like that, is 44 seconds in front of Sean Peachin. So 44 seconds at Chicagoland. You run laps, as you see, down 33-second bracket right now for Miles. So he's roughly 10 seconds behind Miles now, but also a lap behind. So he is probably about a half a straightaway back of Miles just to unlap himself, and he's only got 20 laps to get to him. He would have to run 2.5 seconds faster each lap for the next 20 laps. You see he's going to go flying by Bryson, so he's got the tires. There's Jason Dalton in 9th position right now. Tyler Pluff has done a fantastic job in working his way up through the field. Started all the way back in the 27th position, was running back there a decent portion of the race, but during this green flag run has found himself up to the top 10 now. And he is only 3/10 back from this 2-car. As he continues to carry some momentum from his top 3 finish at Bristol last week in that 39 car. Ooh, Dalton loose. Oh, that car was free. See how the skid marks there off the corner. Appreciate the viewers watching here tonight. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you're not new, we appreciate you still coming back and watching the Great Lakes Sim Racing Downrange Transport Premier Series here on the Captain Esports Network. Of course, plenty of racing each and every week on the series. Of course, wrapping up our Monday night series that we cover. Sunday nights open until January. And of course we got Great Lakes Sim Racing here on Wednesday nights. Friday nights got, of course, that league. That's coming to an end here in 3 weeks or so. And might or might not have something coming Saturday this week. A little tease for you. As Pluff. Of course, Saturday, as we continue for us Florida State fans, Miami Hate Week. So go Noles. And that car is free. Very loose on entry, which either could be a lot of rear brake or car just not having a lot of grip in the rear. .11 laps to go. Leader just crossing the line and getting tighter and tighter up here. We're at the edge of the top 10 as Gagnon. That's actually Tanyan Sutphin in a 7. He gets out of the way of the leaders there. Always very tough to do on a multi-groove track like this. Oh, and Gagnon smacks the wall off 4. Ten laps to go for Stephen Miles. Miles has won his share of races, as I mentioned earlier in this series. And looking to knock another one off here. Be the first one this season. And of course, Miles actually broke open the B car last season. No, I'm sorry. You know what? This is season 9 of the truck, so never mind. I'm getting this wrong. But I will say that Stephen Miles got his first win of his career at Auto Club Speedway Season 9. And has slowly racked up a few more wins after that. And he's 6 laps away now from getting himself another win. last season he, and I started to say this stat, but I wanted to make sure I was right before I went there. He did win the first race in this B car, the Premier car, at Daytona in May of this year. And then he also won at the Brickyard, won at Michigan. So if he can pull this one off here in 4 laps, he'll have his 4th win in the Downrange Transport Premier Series. Come back here, though, because the fighting continues. That is Peyton Johnson, who's trying to hold off Tyler Plouffe for 7th. Peyton having just a solid race. Exactly what we talked about before the race tonight, is Gagnon up against the outside wall again. Gagnon doing everything he can, but are just unfortunately just not driving right for that 79. As for this 24 car, though, he was focused tonight, I'll tell you that. Talked to him before the race, and I mean, he was explaining every little thing he was feeling tonight. The one thing he did tell me was, Captain, the bottom lane is going to be the way to go, the victory lane here, and he has not left that bottom the whole entire time. As a matter of fact, he is just walking away from Diego Sainz, 4.1 seconds. Let's add another playoff spot to the list. The driver, Stephen Miles, as he comes off 4, Chicagoland Speedway, goes to Miles. His 4th Premier Series win. And Diego Sainz has run out of fuel and finishes 4th. So a 1-2 finish now for the team. Gortman finishing 3rd. And Peyton Johnson and Dalton dead heat to the line. And looks like Dalton edged Peyton out by, got to be in the thousandths. Check this out. Good and clean. Yeah, you can see Dalton gets him by nose. As Miles going to burn it down. And a Georgia native from the... I was going to burn it down with him there. Born and raised down in Louisiana, but now lives up in the Atlanta area there. Boom. Goes the dynamite. I think we're getting to the point where we might have to start thinking to ourselves here, do we have a repeat winner at all this season? Or even getting to the 10th race. I know we started back in that. I keep bringing up season 7 of the Truck Series, and here we are again with a lot of winners. I'm actually going to fact check myself here really quickly because I keep saying season 7. And that, of course, was the year where Jacob Black won at Daytona. Yep. And I'm sorry, I said it was Alex Cummings. It was actually Sam Fontaine who became that first repeat winner. I mean, Jacob Black, Jason Dalton, Drayton Cook, Alex Cummings, Tuckness, Bondurant, Fontaine, Sutphin, and then week 9 at Martinsville was when Fontaine went back to victory lane for the second time. So I was a little off, but I knew it was somewhere in that area. Miles wins it over Bryson, Gortman, Signs. Brandon Alphin finishes in the top 5 with Fontaine 6th, Tyler Pluff 7th. Jason Dalton, Peyton Johnson, and Nadine Machine finishing in 10th. Josh Gagnon 11th with Matt Telder 12th. Sean Peach in 13th. Shane Matthews 14th. Devin Ramsey gets a 15th place finish. Cedric Ingram, Sam Barnes. Drift finishing in the 18th position. 19th to Dalton Carter, Tanyan Sutphin 20th. Jacob Locklear 21st. Strayer 22nd. Again, interesting strategy call on his part, and also Peach in there, who did get back on the lead lap at 13th, by the way. Maybe short on fuel, that's why they made that move. Maciejewski, unfortunately, involved in the incident that is probably going to be talked about throughout the week. Tyler Brewer, 24th, 25th. Jacob Thornton, Midkiff, 26th. Brian Sutphin and Jeremy Frere finishing 27th and 28th. Jason Stewart, 29th. Andrew Wyatt, 30th. And Lucas Simonson, 31st position. Diego, I might have to show you some tricks, bud. As let's go talk to our top 3 finishers. And it starts with old Kermit Gortman finishing in 3rd. Lucas, good job on your part tonight, man. What a battle it was there. Obviously tonight, I know for a little bit of the race, you and Telder were right there with each other and had a little 4 or 5 car battle mid-race, but obviously it got spread out with the pit stops and stuff, and get a little help with Diego handing you a position there per his gas mileage, and top 3 finish again.
Yeah, yeah, that first time, the first run there, until that first pit stop where everyone pit under caution, and we didn't. Going back, should have pit then, because then we pit, 5 laps later. As I was telling them, I was like, we just had to work through the traffic, and I was able to work through it somewhat, but I just burnt up my tires doing it, and got lucky there with Diego. Not sure what happened there. So finished probably where I think we should have. I feel like we may have had something for Fontaine, seeing how the rest of the race went. So, kind of wish we would have pit. But hey, I'll still take a top 3. Good points day. All in all. And I'm talking to you again, Chris.
Yes, which is unfortunate for you, but I say that from the standpoint of you got to talk to me. But no, I'm just kidding. So obviously the momentum. I mean, you finished in the top 3 last week in the race at Bristol. Now top 3 at Chicago. As we start getting more and more into these races, of course, you're now getting used to being a part of this league. And yeah, we get the wild card next week at the street circuit, but obviously you're starting to get the feel here and potentially helping yourself when it comes to maybe a run for the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. Coming into the league, I wasn't really sure what to expect. So, just kind of learning, this is a different type of track, first mile and a half of the season, kind of seeing how everyone is. Practice, I was terrible, but, the race, the car had a lot of grip. But, yeah, we had the 2 6th-place finishes, now 2 top 3s. Maybe we can gain 2 more spots and finally get that win. I'm not sure who's really good at the road courses. I do love the Chicago street course myself, so we'll just kind of see how that one goes. I don't know.
I'll let you take a guess on who is, and your probably answer is going to be yes. So, well, great job tonight, man. Send some shout-outs whoever you like to.
Yeah, as always, my teammates in the GLSR. Alex wasn't here, unfortunately. Telder, Brandon, who was repping the White Claw, and he's gonna put that paint in the ditch where it belongs because he was terrible. Oh my God, all the people on my other team, back row. Keith, who's in my ear right now, who's it's hard to talk to you and hear him, but
Shut up, Keith.
um, yeah, there you go. We got a shout out to Keith, Sonia Wheeler, Pork Chop, everybody on back row, everyone that just supports me, and yeah, you for doing the broadcast, everyone in the league, admins. It's been a great start for the season. Was just trying to learn, and now we're looking at a strong fight for not only Rookie of the Year, but maybe even a playoff fight. So it's gonna be fun.
Just doing some quick math in my head here. You said you finished 6 twice. 6 minus 3 is 3. You've now finished 3 twice. 3 minus 2 is 1.
So maybe we can get the win next week, and maybe we get a win after that. So 2 wins in a row, and then we'll probably finish last.
I don't know. It
Yeah.
looks like this year with policies, I don't know if a win's going to be possible to have twice. So
That's true. Yeah. Miles is the 6th different winner now?
exactly. So great job, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Take it easy.
Hey, you too, buddy. Lucas Gortman finishing in the 3rd position here tonight, behind the 2 teammates of Laser Racing, of course, that being Alex Bryson, AB, finishing 2nd tonight as ran up there in the top 5 throughout the night. I know Chicago's a track that you feel pretty good at, and you were able to turn it into a top 3 finish tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the track. I just never ran it in the B car before, so I was kind of unexpected. Got some practice in early on this week, and kind of worked my craft a little bit. But overall, I would have been happy with the top 5, but to finish 2nd there, feels really good.
So talk about this B car a little bit on this track. You said it's the first time you've ever ran this combo. Obviously, a lot of change when it comes to running a truck or something like that. And of course, having Miles. I mean, I was in there for a second when you guys got in there, and I mean, he was breaking down every corner pretty much. Like, you need to go here, go here, go here, go there, go here. That had to help things.
Oh my God, yeah. Steve Miles is a huge help to my success in any league or anything that I do on iRacing. So big shout out and kudos to him. But yeah, we were talking. He was just breaking it down. Guy's just a great driver. But in the B car, it's obviously a heavier car compared to what I'm used to in the Gen 4. I feel like in the Gen 4 you can really, kind of choose your lane. If you can really rip the top and pull a Larson, or you can be a Kevin Harvick and run the bottom and never come off the white line. So it's just trying to find middle ground for me personally on where to run the car. And the practices leading up to it, I was telling Miles and Gortman, like I couldn't hold the bottom at all. And if I ran up top, I burned my stuff off and load into this, and it just automatically would just stick to the bottom. There was a couple times where I thought I was going to lose it, getting in the corner entry, but just kind of made some adjustments and just had to do what I had to do to get 2nd.
Yeah, it worked out for you tonight, man. Congratulations, and send a shout out whoever you like to.
I got to send a shout out to Laser Racing, Steven Miles, Brandon Alfin, my teammates. I got to thank my wife and kids, especially my wife, letting me take time out of our busy lives to do this. Shout out to my dad. Hopefully he's watching. Shout out to my wife's grandmother. I know she loves stock car racing, so she likes to watch these as well. Shout out to you for being an amazing broadcaster, and shout out to the man above.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate your efforts and your time, and go celebrate with the team.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely is. Alex Bryson finishing 2nd here tonight. Of course, to his teammate and a guy that's helped him out a ton, helps a lot of people out when you reach out to him, and that's Stephen Miles, who goes to victory lane here for the first time this season, becoming the 6th different winner and winning for the 4th time in the Premier Series history in his career. But Stephen, obviously a lot of work. I know you've told me plenty of times you got to get in there and run laps because you are so focused on getting to victory lane, not only here on Wednesday nights, but on Friday nights and that kind of thing. And here tonight, you put it all together and get yourself a win.
Yeah, man. That's what it took tonight, man. A lot of practice, hard work, dedication. It was the race I thought it would be, but a little twist to it. But I mean, it was a good race over and all.
How tough was it for you? Of course, you decided to wait to, I think it was the lap 50 caution, or I'm sorry, lap 30 caution to come to pit road. And of course, you had the 2 stops before that, and holding out there, staying patient, and then obviously being even more patient during the green flag cycles had to be pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, I made my decision. I told my team what we was gonna do. I was thinking about coming in that first caution with 15, but not enough people came in, and I felt like I was bet on the long run anyway. So I wanted to see how it was gonna pan out. And towards that little short stint, I was catching everybody, and that caution came out with 20 some laps on the tires. So I mean, it was a no brainer. I was surprised the leaders stayed out, but when they did that, it was all about getting through the field safely. Me and Bryson and getting to that lead, man, without tearing that right rear up. And fortunately, I was able to get there, and Diego's right behind me, and I just pulled over and let him have it, let him lead, because I knew what pace I wanted to be at, and I was eventually able to get past him, and he was right there on my back bumper, man, saving with me, and I'll look at the lap times. We was running exact lap times, and towards the end of that stint, my car felt like it got a little bit more grip, and I was able to get like a second and a half or something like that, and I pitted, and he pitted a lap after me, and that made a big difference. They gave me that 4 second lead, and after that, it was all about managing the lead, and I wasn't worried if he was catching up because I knew I had enough to save to hold him off or whatever. But it was I see what they talking about in real life, man. How slow these laps go by when you run a long run and you don't want no caution. And I kept telling myself, don't even look at the laps. Just focus on not spinning the car. Cause I'm telling you, man, that car's a handful on that bottom, and it was a switch up, man. You couldn't run the top, and that was new. So I'm just glad I dedicated myself to that bottom line and was able to get the victory for the laser racing tonight.
Well, great job tonight, man. Send some shouts who you like to.
Thank Alvin, AB, man. I mean my teammates, man, and everything. We pulled a top 5, even after a mistake or two, was able to get it done as a team tonight. And thank Laser Racing, TI Racing. Thank you, one of the best broadcasters out there, man. Hopefully we get that subscribers up to 1,000 by the weekend, you know.
I like it.
And thank God and thank my girlfriend and I'm just glad I was able to get this win, man. I could take a trip to Louisiana and take off next week, go hunt and fish.
Good point. I totally didn't even think of that you were going to be gone next week. But hey, safe travels to the Bayou. I know we'll talk later in the week. But great job tonight and finally getting Ric Flair back in victory lane. Can I get a?
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Do we get a woo or I mean?
You could do that for me,
Oh,
man. You
come on.
know, you do it
I'm
best.
too tired to woo. I can I can whoa, but I don't know about woo.
Whoa. I mean, you can do it either way, man. Regardless, we in victory lane tonight.
The best part is it's not on camera. All right. Great job, man.
You too.
All right, buddy. Stephen Miles winning tonight here. And he had a pretty good woo, I was going to say. But anywho, all right. That was a pretty good race. 3 cautions, I think, which was kind of funny. I think I predicted that before the race. I said, yeah, it's this weird thing that happens when you get these loose setups. It brings the better drivers out of everybody. And you don't see as many cautions as you will like a tight setup. And here we are tonight, 3 cautions, I think, early in the race, 3 or 4. And we make it to the finish. So great job on everybody's part there. Great racing. And good to see everybody make it back. And I think there's really not anybody too angry with each other. I mean, there's going to be the one wreck I think everybody's going to talk about that happened mid-race. But might have to cover that one next week when it's all said and done. So, but the Black Horizon Legacy 195 is in the books. And a big shout out to those guys. If you ever get a chance to go to Chicago, check out Black Horizon Brewery. They have been around for a while. They were a part of the sponsorship for this series for so long. They got a website. If I ever get a chance, I'm closer to Chicago now in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So next time I get to Chicago, which I think could happen, I'm going to Black Horizon. I will try a brew, and I'll have to talk to Barnes and figure out what kind to get to. So, but definitely going to do that. So, all right, we're going to head out. Big shout out to, of course, Peachin and to Tyler Brewer, Fontaine, those guys who help run the league. Of course, Travis Icavacci. I salute you, of course, the main guy that started this whole thing up, he and Barnes. and so on and so forth. So we're going to head out, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening, and always remember, this isn't just a game, it's iRacing. See ya!